Hi, so if you can just, brief about your background, what you have worked on so far, any internship, any projects that you would have worked on, just highlight that, and we will then start the discussion.
Sure. So I completed my diploma in 2020. It was in computer science, and after that, I joined as an apprentice in Bangalore. It was for a government defense company. I worked there for a year and few months. Um, so yeah, after like I also wanted to pursue my education along with the full-time work. So I enrolled in a bachelor's degree. It was a distance education, so the classes are on weekends. It's very flexible, and yeah, so I worked there for a year, and after that, I came back to my hometown, and here, uh, like I joined as a Linux support admin for a company. It was actually a local company, but the support was outsourced from a company called HostGator. It's a web hosting provider, and yeah, so I was a level one admin there. Like I used to uh, be on live chat and troubleshoot the problems people were facing with their servers. And like I worked there for 4 months, and then I actually couldn't continue. I developed a migraine, so I had to leave. They had to let me go. And then I decided that when I recovered, I decided that I want to gain more skills.
So which category do you fall in? Like, are you, uh, so you are still doing your graduation, like after your plus two, I can say, like after 10 plus two, you are pursuing your BCA right now.
Yes,
Okay, you haven't done any BTech or engineering yet. You are going into BCA and you are doing it distance education. And in between, you are working on these other small companies for short duration. That's what you experience you got right now.
yes.
And how much is that overall experience then?
Uh, I think around almost a year and a few months at Bell, and 4 months at the tech support company.
And at Bell and at the tech support, I believe is still relevant to DevOps and cloud space. But how about at Bell? Was it related to IT or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at Bell, I was posted to uh, the literature division.
Mhm.
Me and my manager were the only IT persons in the department. So
Okay.
like our job was to like I was there to I was posted there to automate some things. Now, when I say automate, it is not and I mean in the terms of Linux or Ansible, but so I wrote small applications for Windows systems in VB.NET. So small Windows applications that were supposed to automate a particular task. So I mean, so that time and paper cost and some other resources could be saved. So that was the goal there. I
Okay.
used VB.NET and VBA and some other technologies.
Very, very legacy stuff, right? Yeah. All right. So, so that's how I believe you started your DevOps journey or started getting into server administration kind of thing.
I wouldn't say so because I actually in 2018 or 17, as a hobby, I used to run a game server,
Mhm.
and that actually involved. I mean, initially I didn't know much, so I ran it on. I purchased Windows cloud servers and ran it on it. But then I realized the operating system wasn't. Used to get fragmented, and you had to restart to. Uh, like, I mean, Windows. So I discovered Linux back then,
Mhm.
and it was less expensive. And once you like configure your server and start the daemon, like it can run forever. You don't
Okay.
have to restart it. And like I found it, I was fascinated. And I think back then, 2017 is when I actually started learning about Linux. But it was as a hobby, not
Okay.
as a professional job. Yeah.
So should I say that now your interest is more into managing infra rather than applications? Is that what where you, because I see a lot of Red Hat certifications and trainings that you are going through. So
Yes.
I believe you want more in you want to pursue in the direction of infra side.
Yes, definitely. I have recently taken an initiative to register for the Red Hat certification.
Mhm.
I'll be undergoing the exam maybe last week of this month. So I'm definitely aligning towards the
Which
infrastructure
exam are
side
you
of things.
going for?
Red Hat certified system admin.
System admin. Okay. So should I believe that you are good with Ansible and infra configuration, etc. That space?
Uh, I think I'm good with Linux definitely, but Ansible I have recently started learning.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't say that I'm very proficient with Ansible, but
But
definitely
have
I
you
have
got the good terminology, understanding how things work in Ansible?
the basics, of course. And even I mean at my at IPSR I definitely did some hands-on labs with
Mhm.
Ansible as well. So I definitely can use.
And this IPSR, just to be clear, are you intern here? Intern is slightly nowadays, right? Can be misleading because I traditionally I would believe internship is where you are working or maybe it's paid or unpaid. Uh, but how
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
situation in this case?
No, it's
It,
definitely an unpaid internship, and I also have enrolled in classes
okay,
for the certifications that I'll be pursuing.
okay. And how is the experience there? Are they helping in hands-on stuff, or is it more like theoretical? Last week I interviewed one candidate, and it was more of very high level AWS understanding, enough to pass the exam, but not enough to start any work.
Uh, I'll be honest, the internship is actually very hands-on. It was very hands-on, and
Mhm.
it definitely exposed me to a lot of technologies. I had to do things in order to, for the mentor to let me, I mean, pursue the next task.
Mhm.
But the training that is given for the certification, it's very theoretical, in my opinion. So
That's strange, right? Training is what you are paying for, and you are not quite satisfied with that part. Whereas internship is probably you are offering free of cost, but you are learning more from it.
yes, it's a whole package. I think I'm pretty
But still,
satisfied.
I would appreciate, you doing all this along with your studies over the weekend, and it's definitely a good thing. And a lot of people on my in my community, they keep requesting what extra we can do and how we can. So how did you like you ended up here because of your training program, right? You enrolled for training and then you get into internship.
No, actually, it's combined. Like,
It's the okay.
yeah, it's together.
All right. Okay, let's quickly test like have you I see you have done some training on AWS side as well.
Yeah, I'm already halfway through it, but I don't think I'll be attempting for the exam. I mean the certification because AWS is not not very strong, so I think I'll only be getting certified in Red Hat.
Just alone Red Hat.
Yes.
Okay. But still, like, what is your understanding? You have mentioned Linux, AWS, Ansible, Docker, Jenkins. So, yeah, what is your understanding of DevOps? You probably haven't worked in large enterprises, but still, I would want to assess, how what's your view? What do you think? Why people are hiring for such roles, or what kind of capabilities, what kind of value add a DevOps engineer does? If you can brief based on your understanding.
Sure. So I think that as a DevOps engineer, you're supposed to help teams automate their um, delivery of uh, the software release that they'll be working on, and you'll use tools that help automate these tasks, and you'll be collaborating with the developers. I mean, that's all I have heard. But as in tools, you asked me about Linux, so I think that's like a very foundational thing for a DevOps role. So you need to know it, and how to troubleshoot your way around networking in Linux, and um, some general things. And then Ansible will be for uh, like managing a state of your machine. I mean, Ansible definitely will be for multiple environments, multiple instances. So you will use Ansible for managing the state and write specific configurations uh,
Why
the way you
Ansible?
want.
Like, how is this different from anything else in the industry?
Yeah, I have actually only used Ansible. I do know that there are other tools like Puppet and Chef, but Ansible seems like you only have to do the setup once. Like you have to install, configure SSH, and then you can just make sure you have Python, and then you can just like write and execute on all of them. Whereas I believe the other options require you to have uh, a client, uh, I mean, software that has to be configured on all your machines. I have no idea how things are on the alternatives, so I can't really comment
Have
much.
you used Jinja templates and
No, I have not.
you haven't?
No.
Okay, so if you have to, that's fine. Uh, but this is also again very strong benefit. You can um, templatize your uh, part of your scripts and maybe use powerful things which Python or other programming languages offer, like loops and conditional and those kind of things easily using Jinja. Because use it, I end up using it frequently for various use cases.
I'll definitely look into it.
Uh, Also, how about other areas of DevOps, like application build, application deploy, uh, those
Yeah.
things? Do you cover, like, for example, Maven based application has to be built, or a .NET application has to be built and deployed onto a server? Uh, do you cover those skills as well?
I mean, I have definitely performed hands-on labs with using Jenkins, but
Mhm.
like it was not. I mean, it was a Hello World application, so
Okay.
I don't really have like a real-world industry experience.
Mhm.
But I did do hands-on labs, so you'll have to pull from the Git repository, configure tokens, access tokens, and
Mhm.
like it was and yeah, sure, Docker as well. If you have a Docker file written for your application, then you can just write a command in Jenkins to run the Docker
Can
image.
you show me, like, do you understand Docker? Can you write a simple sample Docker file now?
uh, okay, do I have to install
You don't
Docker?
have to install, just open Notepad, share Notepad, and just write a hello world Docker file. Let's
Oh,
understand.
okay, I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah, just also in parallel, keep explaining what it means.
Yeah, so I'm actually it has been a while, but I'll try. So from is like the so you'll be pulling it from a repository. So from is like I think there's a repository of images that are
Mhm.
being maintained by Docker, official Docker people. So and
Okay.
so I'll be here mentioning Ubuntu. and then semicolon and maybe the version of the image I need, and then I'll be writing variable run, run maybe a command on
Mhm.
that in that instance. So run. I believe I also have to mark a name for it. I'm not sure about that command. Tag or something. Sorry, I'm unable to recall.
Okay, no worries. What if you have to copy some files or uh, do some operations within your container?
Yeah, like you can copy and dot, like from the previous instance to
Mhm.
the inside the Ubuntu that you have pulled up. So I believe dot is like the whatever the current directory you're in while running that playbook, and the other
Okay.
dot will be the inside of your
The
Ubuntu
target
instance.
one where you want to place
Target.
it.
Yes.
Okay. And how about the repository? Have you worked on any repository or is it the default Docker hub that you
No, I've only used the
do
default
you
dot.
understand is it possible to host your own repository as well?
And if I can follow a documentation and
Okay,
try
cool.
and configure.
Yep.
Okay.
Go Going back to Ansible, which is the most complex Ansible script that you would have used or you would have created?
Uh, I created a R clone. So I have had a Raspberry Pi at home, and
Mhm.
I was using it to sync my Google Drive with the Raspberry Pi because sometimes I don't like. I wanted a safe backup of all the important documents
Mhm.
that I have on my Google Drive local. So
Okay.
like I thought of using Ansible to uh, so that I can maybe also do that on my cloud
What is
VM
the
as well.
complexity in this one? Which is the most complex part in doing this?
Most of it's fine. So to use Google Drive to get access of Google Drive on command line, you have to have a access token and
Mhm.
some secret key that you generate from Google console, Google API console. So I had to provide those variables in the script,
Mhm.
and so it wasn't. So I used that Ansible command to generate a different file, YML file, which was I don't remember the exact command,
Mhm.
but there is a command, and you provide the name of the file, and it encrypts that file, and there you declare
Base
variables.
64 or something, is it?
AES 250 SAR 250, no, AES
Okay.
algorithm.
Okay.
I don't remember the
That's okay.
algorithm,
But
and yeah,
there is less of Ansible complexity in this. This is more of you being able to integrate your Google Drive credentials with the device that you had.
yes, and install rclone and like sync my Google Drive. Yeah,
Okay.
I think
That's
that's the
so
most
that's
complex.
more of your personal sort of stuff. At work, what is the complex thing? Like, have you managed any one script to run on 10 servers and manage them or something of that sort?
I'm afraid I haven't gotten the opportunity to do that yet. I haven't done
But
it.
do you understand why Ansible is used? Like, obviously, it's not to manage one single sort of device. Do you know
Yeah,
it can manage servers at scale?
yeah. So in the inventory, if you keep on adding the number of hosts, then
Mhm.
and you can group them as well, like square brackets. So
Okay.
that you can execute a command and make all those servers, whichever are listed in the inventory file, to a particular scale. Uh, and I believe I'm not very sure, but there is something called Ansible Tower,
Exactly. That
AWS.
was my question because Ansible is your core skill. Are you limited to um, Ansible through command line, or have you also explored any such product like Control Tower, Semaphore?
No, not yet. I have not. I've heard of those, but I have not tried.
Okay. So I would suggest, like, because you are planning to have this as your major skill set, so you can start with Ansible Semaphore, which is pretty much a user interface on top of it, and pretty much like very easy to get started. And once you are comfortable, you can switch to Ansible Tower and Ansible AWX. There is an AWX version as well, which is open source, and then Ansible Tower is more of enterprise product. So there are 3 or 4 flavors that you can explore with. You can work with here. How about like you mentioned AWS? Any other cloud platform you are working on?
No, but as I mentioned, I did try running my game servers on long ago on
Mhm.
the trial of Google Cloud Compute. So I used it a few years ago. So I feel like it's very similar to AWS, only the terminology and some things are different. But yeah, I'm comfortable with uh, Google Cloud as well, a bit comfortable.
Okay. How do you connect your Ansible scripts to your Google machine? How do you enable that SSH connection between them?
Go- are you asking about Drive?
Any such if, for example, you have to deploy a Hello World um, Ansible playbook onto one EC2, or not EC2, I'm from that AWS background, onto a Google compute, then how would you uh, do that?
I can pull if I have those playbooks on my GitHub, then I can run the git command to clone the record, and I'll get all the playbooks that I'm willing to run. Um, Yes, that can be a way.
No, but how will your playbooks that are on your laptop or desktop will be able to communicate with the Google instance?
Oh yeah, I'll have to generate a key on my local laptop,
Mhm.
and the private key I'll have to copy it manually, or there's a command to do that on my instances, and I'll have to make sure that the password authentication is enabled, so that the first time when I copy it over, I'll be prompted to enter the password. So like yeah, first time I'll have to do it manually on each of the instances that I used to uh, run, and I'll add the host name, the public IP address to my file, inventory file, so that when I run, it works.
And how do you generate a dynamic inventory in Ansible? Have you got experience in that space?
So I have not looked into it yet.
So, for example, now in this case, you mentioned there will be a Google Compute instance, and then you will add those SSH keys and do it. But what if you have to discover those servers? Do you understand the dynamic inventory requirement?
No, I don't know.
That's fine. That's okay. So basically, a dynamic inventory is where, because in the cloud, servers can be provisioned and deprovisioned based on the demand, uh, the the workload on those servers. So depending upon the load, the number of servers can go up and down. So Ansible modules are expected to regularly check the inventory, and if there is any package has to be deployed, then do all that sort of thing. So do check out the dynamic inventory
I
concept
will.
and how you
Yes.
implement that in different areas. What other best practices you know that you use in Ansible? Any other good practices that you believe organizations should follow? There's a bit of disturbance from your mic.
Uh, I'm sorry. Definitely, I think we should encrypt the passwords, and
Mhm.
like uh, we should comment. We should write comments for uh, each line. That maybe in the future it might be helpful if someone else is referring, then they can get a good idea of what's going on. And Not able to recall any best practices right now. I think that's all.
If you have to manage like a scenario where one Ansible playbook will first be deployed onto dev environment, then prod, then QA, and then prod. Do you know how to manage that?
I mean, if like I can group the servers in the in hosts inventory file,
Mhm.
and I can like run that accordingly to the particular machine, if that's
But if uh, my machine that I'm trying to configure talks to a dev database that has a different configuration, and a QA and prod have different configurations, then how do I handle that kind of thing?
I have no idea about that.
So in the internship or any other HostGator, you didn't have to work with different environments.
No, like we just uh, we ran like normal instances and configured and ran basic commands to execute things like creating a file or something basic, configuring network. I have not worked on complex.
All right. What others, you know, skills that you have apart from Ansible, and uh, which Jenkins? What was your experience with Jenkins? You said you built a Hello World product and
Uh,
deploy that.
yes, so like we pulled from a repository,
Mhm.
and I had to go to uh, my GitHub account and generate a personal token, access token, and had to config. You have to put it in the settings of Jenkins, and then it shows that your name comes up. It has successfully, and then yeah, like if then you have to specify what happens when the repository is cloned and execute shell. You have to select that drop down and enter the commands what should happen when it's cloned. And I
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Cool. So I think I got a good understanding of your profile and what skill set knowledge you bring. Do you have any questions that you want help with?
uh, yeah. So how do you think I could have improved this
Uh,
interview from my
I
my end?
I think I think there are still some gaps there. You have been doing well. You are still studying, I believe. Fine. I totally agree that you have done a lot of things that other people may not have done. But I still believe that you are not job ready for different kind of roles. Maybe if somebody sees Ansible as this strength, and that could be the reason, but then you may not be able to get the right salary or package or the kind of company that you're looking for. So there might be a compromise. Uh, so my only suggestion would be you have good understanding. You have to build slightly complex, if I won't say build something enterprise level, but slight beyond Hello World, build some real world projects, expand in the other areas as well. Don't limit yourself just to Ansible and infra configuration. So it's a very strong, Ansible is in demand, that there are requirements, but then the entire package has to be there. So whether it is Jenkins or GitLab or Azure DevOps, just pick one uh, platform where you will go slightly deep dive, and you can do your research. You can look at GitLab, or you can look at Azure DevOps, uh, or maybe GitHub Actions. So just pick one such platform where you will be building some products, you will be deploying, and you will be configuring through Ansible. Also pick one cloud provider where you are comfortable. You again, based on your choice. I am fully into AWS. A lot of people go with Azure, GCP. Pick one such cloud provider, and then using maybe Terraform or something. Terraform is better suited. Not cloud agnostic fully, but you can easily migrate your skills to if you end up working on GCP, but eventually you get a job on AWS, you can easily migrate your skills. So you can still use Terraform and create your infra there. So you can build a sort of such pipeline where you use a build and package tool. You use Ansible and Terraform to deploy and configure the infrastructure, and maybe a bit of testing thereafter. So once you do this one on a slightly complex project, where you have to download some dependencies to build the application, where you have to do few additional things. You have some secrets to manage. Where do you store them? So you will also get some good understanding of how enterprise or how different companies use that kind of thing in their organization. So you will get some idea how it works at larger organizations, and then it will be easier to get into interview calls and get into their area as well.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. That's
That's what
helpful.
I would suggest you do have, but I wouldn't suggest you to limit to one tool. So expand the horizon and go a little deep also. So expand in terms of tooling, and go deep in terms of complexity of the situation. Like build something which is complex. Complex as in not to solve any real world problem, but uh, while provisioning the infrastructure, you don't just provision an EC2 or a server. You have a load balancer in front. You secure that with your own designed um, private network kind of thing. So you do it thoroughly in private public subnets. So do it thoroughly. So the application could still be smaller, but you cover the entire landscape of an application. So yeah, these are the two feedbacks that I would suggest. And then I think you're doing good, and then it will help you be job ready. It will help you be interview ready. That sort of thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, we can always be connected, and you can get in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.